Okay. Okay, now I can see the chat. And I'm back. I don't know if anybody's here. But if you are, hey girl, hey. Welcome back to another live. It's your girl. Hey, hey. It's your girl. It's your... Hey, hey. It's Mama Jen. Welcome back. Hey girl, hey. We are here for the next hour, chilling, chatting it up. As usual, we have decided to do a little change to the live. Originally, I think I said I was going to make them every Tuesday. Not every Tuesday. Every second Tuesday. Now they're going to be every second Friday. Okay? And I feel like, Friday's chill. Fridays is a vibe. Tuesday, in the middle of the week. After Monday. But Friday, we're going to get ourselves a little glass of bubbly. Cry with breastfeeding. And wait a minute now. I just got a message saying that there's no live chat. I don't like this thing. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can fix this. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me. And let me know if the chat is working. Because those are very important situations. We need to talk. We need to chill. So if I'm talking to myself, that's no fun. That's not what we want. That's not the vibe we're going for. We're going for a nice little conversation, Couch conversations. So confirm with me that you can see me, you can hear me, and you can chat. I do see some people are able to chat. I see some of you. Okay, we're confirming. You can see me, you can hear me. See me, you can hear me. And you're typing in the chat, so it must be working. All right, so we're going to keep it going. We do have, actually, it's Ebony that's in my ears, y'all. Ebony's letting me know that the chat isn't working. So that's the issue that I'm having. I don't know if it's working for everyone or if it's not working for everyone, if that's the problem. But I don't know what to do about it at this point. We gonna let the Holy Spirit take care of this issue. Why do I going live? My palm is sweaty, y'all. Every single time, like I'm hot. I gotta watch a video on this thing every single time, and I hit it. But today we have 3 juicy topics to talk about. The first one is one that I left you last time. It's a cliffhanger, and it's about natural hair. We need to talk about natural hair, y'all. The reviews are coming in, and I filmed a video on this. It's actually gonna go up on, I want to say Monday. It's gonna go up on Monday, and I called an emergency meeting in that video. But since you're here, you're getting the juice right away, because girl, I don't know what's going on, but something's going on in these internet streets when it comes to natural hair, and we need to talk about it. We need to get to the bottom of it. And I am almost like, I'm in shock. Okay, I'm gonna just dive into it. But before I even get into it, I will tell you what the 3 topics are for today. We're gonna talk about hair. It's gonna be an update on the no oil and butter situation. This topic is juicy. It's hot. It's hot off the press, and we need to get into it. Second topic we're going to talk about is a parenting/birth topic. I got to squeeze that in. And I actually have a video to show you, because I found out recently that I was 0.5 seconds from an emergency C-section if I didn't have the right provider. Can you believe that? I would have been crushed, first of all, because that's not what I wanted for my birth. But in chatting with another mother, she told me her story, and I was like, that's crazy, because her situation was exactly like my situation, but she ended up in an emergency C-section, and I delivered my baby naturally, which is what I wanted. So it's very interesting how it was just different. And the third topic that we're going to talk about is more of a lifestyle topic, because let me tell you something, girl. We have less than 6 months left in 2023. Where did the year go? What did you do? We're going to check in with each other. We're going to talk about our habits and some of our goals for the rest of the year, because time is flying by. And if you're not on it, you're gonna get left behind, girl, because time is that Uber driver. Troop troop. When they pull up, they're not waiting for nobody. And it's very disturbing how fast time is going. So let's get this conversation started. All right. If you are not behaving in the chat, Ebony is gonna get you. Ebony is the community manager. She's the chat manager. She's the YouTube manager. And she gonna get you, okay? So y'all better listen to Ebony. If she tells you to sit down and listen, you better sit down and listen. She tells me what to do, y'all. She's in my ears right now saying that your chat is not working, girl. Fix it. So I had to get out and fix it. She makes my palms sweaty. All right. Let's talk about the no oil and butter situation. Basically, it's an update to the no oil and butter situation. And it's been a long time coming. As you know, I'll give you a little background on my story. I feel like you guys probably know. Do we care for background? Maybe you don't. But if you are watching the replay, I feel like you want to know. So I gave up using oils and butters about 2 years ago. July 2 years ago actually was the last time I used raw oils. I should specify. Raw oils and raw butters on my natural hair. I've used products that have oils and butters in them, and to be fair, most of the products that we use, most of the shampoos, conditioners, stylers, I want to argue, have oils and butters and emollients formulated in them. So the argument is that we don't need to pile extra oils and butters in our hair. Okay. So 2 years ago, I think I was on the live actually when someone came and was like, Jen, have you considered not using oils in your hair? And I was like, no, actually, I have not. Why would I not use oils in my hair? What are you talking about? And she was like, well, you can just wash your hair and use a gel. I basically tried to avoid the comment like the Matrix. You're not talking to me. Gel in my hair after I wash it? Who is this troll? Ebony, get her. Even although I didn't have an Ebony at the time, but I wish I did, because I was like, you're clowning. What are you doing? What are you saying? What are you telling me? And ever since then, I still remember that comment because I remember how I reacted in the live. I wish I could kind of like dig back and watch. I can't remember which live it was, but go back and watch that video because my reaction was just that. Like, oh, no way, Jose, I'm not doing that. Who are you talking to? I completely was like, no. But then the trend kept coming up, not using oil in your hair. And it was just a whole thing. It was just a whole thing about YouTube University that came out. Basically, stylists came out, and I don't want to say 2 years ago, but I started looking into it, and started hearing about it 2 years ago about not using raw oils and butters, how it's not needed, how we're basically suffocating our hair, and our hair is technically dry under all the oils and the butters that we're using. So that was the basis of this method. Method is not using raw oils and butters to fix an issue. Rather is to wash your hair consistently, because that's how you're going to get hydration into your strands. Okay. Some of it makes sense. Oils and water don't mix. All the things that we're doing the most. You don't need to refresh and re-moisturize your hair on a day-to-day. We were doing a lot to our hair, which I was like, you know what? I kind of see it. I am doing a lot. I was re-moisturizing at least every 3 days or so. And I was washing my hair weekly when I was on my good behavior. Now, I started doing this method, and the second I started doing it, I remember the first day I did it, I was like, you know what? There is something there. Not using oils in my hair, but being in the shower and just making sure that my hair was thoroughly wet and raking all the products in my hair. And my hair was just heavy with the humectant and the botanical gels. My hair was just heavy with the water, and it retained the water beautifully. And I was like, what? You know what? I see something there. Something's happening, and I kind of like it. So ever since then, the rest is history. I just haven't used oils and butters in my hair for the past 2 years. But now, the reviews are coming in, and there is no way to sugarcoat this, my friend. Some things are happening, meaning that we need to talk about it. Now, I have to say that I haven't experienced some of the issues that I've been hearing. And the main issue that I'm hearing is that people are having a lot of split ends. Okay, now there's a lot of speculation as to where that's happening and why. And it's not so much, oh, you're styling your hair in a wash and go, you have split ends. People are thinking that the curly cuts that the stylists are giving them is the one that is causing all of these split ends and destroying their hair. So the main thing, like I said, split ends galore. A creator actually posted about it. Her name is Rosie. And when I post my video on Monday, I am going to go into more detail and also link all of the videos that I'm talking about. Rosie's video, Shelly's video, she's another creator. African Hair God's video is going to be linked as well because he's a stylist here and a content creator. Y'all know African Hair God. Girl, don't try to act like you don't know him. And if you don't know him, you need to check him out. But he has been giving women corrective cuts when it comes to their hair and the states of their hair. So basically, a lot of people are experiencing a lot of split ends and the hair is splitting up through the shaft of their hair. It's not just a little split end situation that you can just trim. People are trimming 3-4 inches off of their hair. That's crazy. Excuse me. that just makes no sense to me. So that's one. Two, essentially, a lot of people are saying that their hair is dry. And where's this dryness coming from? And it's not even like a dryness that you are feeling. It's a dryness that is masked. So the products that they're using is making their hair feel nice. But when they went ahead and blow dried their hair, and that's how this whole thing started, I should tell you, Rosie went to a stylist and she blew dry her hair. And that's when she was like, huh? What's going on with your hair? And Rosie was like, well, I don't know. You tell me. And the stylist was like, what do you mean? And she was like, oh, I don't know. But in my head, that's how I feel like the conversation went. Like they were both shocked looking at each other. And yeah, so that's how it all started. She blew dry her hair and saw the states of the split ends that she had, which was not pretty. And now I have to say, I haven't experienced any of that. So I've been looking at my hair with a magnifying glass ever since this whole thing came out. Because, is this happening and I'm not aware? Are these products making our hair feel so good, but yet on the inside, our hair is dry? Is that even the thing? Because I posted about it on Instagram and a lot of people were saying the issue with the curly cuts is that they're not taking care of all of your split ends. Basically, curly cuts is to cut for shape, not cut for health. So what's happening, at least allegedly, I don't know, what's happening is that you're cutting your hair, you have a bomb shape, but your split ends are still there. So now it's going to continue to split up the shaft of your hair, as you know. If you don't take care of your split ends, they are going to take care of you. Y'all know what I mean. So African Hair God is in Atlanta. That's right. He's not in Canada. And Rosie is another creator here on YouTube. I'm just reading at some of the comments. You know, I can't ignore you because, you know, we're having we're having a nice little conversation. And Ebony is lovely, you guys. She's not mean. I'm trying to paint a picture like she is cracking down on everybody, but it's not true. She's the loveliest person ever. But yeah. Anyways, what was I saying? I forgot where I was. Split ends, dryness. Are these products making our hair feel nice? Yes, I posted about it on Instagram. And if someone said something that I was like, I don't know if that's true. And that kind of leads me to my pet peeve with the natural hair community, to be honest. Where is it? I'm trying to find the comment. But basically what the person said is that gels and mousse aren't meant to penetrate your hair. So they are just sitting on the outside, whereas oils and butters penetrate your hair. So when your hair is feeling chronically dry from the gel and the mousse, is because you're not able to penetrate your hair. And I don't know, I'm no scientist, and I wish, you know, if I was going to school now, if I was 18 years old going into university, I would still do the same degree that I did, but I would specialize in natural hair, if that was a thing. Because this is the biggest pet peeve I have with the natural hair communities, the fact that we're all speculating. Oils and water don't mix. Oils penetrate your hair, but oils don't penetrate your hair. Butters do, but they don't. Mousse does, but they don't. Like, it's so crazy because I feel like, I don't know. Like, we are just, there's a lot of limited, how do I say this? There's limited studies on our natural 4C kinky hair. You know what I mean? And because of that, I think we just run with the little information that will come out in a study and kind of just run with it. Like, yeah, maybe oils and water don't mix, but is that the case when it comes to hair? Because we do have a lipid layer on our hair. Maybe we do need the oils. And I'm not saying we need to run back to oils and butters. That's not what I'm saying at all. If anything, that's the second pet peeve that I have with the natural hair community, is the fact that if you try something, it doesn't work. Oh, no, I got to go back. People are talking about going back to Blue Magic Grace. And it's like, we don't need to go back a decade. We can go back a year or two, learn, figure out what's going on, and then grow from there. Because I don't believe that this method is completely wrong. And I just think that maybe a few things need to be tweaked, especially if people are experiencing some issues. We don't need to run back to 1995. Grandma was using this in my hair, so I need to go back to that. I don't know. I just feel like we can evolve, we can grow, etc. What degree did you go in, Jen? I had a degree. I have a degree in biochemistry. That's what I went to school for, which is why I would have loved to, take a microscope, like one of those microscopes that they had at school, because they had those like 200x microscope back in the lab. And it's funny because I had a love-hate relationship with biochemistry when I was going to school, because, oh my God, it was so tough, y'all. It was the hardest thing that I ever did, is graduating in biochemistry. And at the time, I hated it. I just did it because I had no choice. I felt like my parents would disown me. They would love me significantly less if I did not graduate with my degree. Y'all know how it is with these Haitian parents. So in any case, I would have loved to use some of these microscope and like really kind of study the structure of the hair and see what's going on, see what happens when you actually condition versus deep condition. And is the deep conditioner actually penetrating our hair the way that these marketers are letting us know? Because I saw this, I've been looking into this, y'all. I read this paper, this scientific paper, where basically the consensus was that deep conditioners aren't really doing what we think that they're doing. They're not going that much deeper. And it was a scientist that posted it. Oh my God, I have to dig this paper back because I feel like bringing back this whole series on no oil and butter. In any case, they tagged the deep conditioner with a substance that made it glow, basically. And then they looked at the hair under a microscope to see where the deep conditioner went. And it stayed on the surface of the hair. It ain't go nowhere. It ain't penetrate deep inside. So I need to find this paper. It's not Jen saying this. It's a paper that I read. I want to say maybe a year ago. But in any case, I'm going to have to dig it back up. All I'm saying is I would have loved to study our hair because we really need more studies. I would love that. And Nikki said, I guess people with 4C hair will need to trial and see what works and what doesn't. But why? Why does it have to be people with 4C hair doing all this trial and tribulation, going through this trial and tribulation with our hair? Why is all of our heads so different, that it can't be a consensus that you don't need this, but let's use that type thing? And okay, I know we're all individual. I know we have our own, we're all unique essentially. But is my hair, for example, so unique versus somebody else's hair that may be kinky and tight coils as well? So I don't know. I just kind of feel like the going through, does any conditioner actually penetrate then? I don't know. I feel like the way that we think about our hair, as in like cuticles are raising and closing like a flap, I don't think it's like that, because I also read another paper. When I started the whole no oil and butter thing, y'all, my plan was to bring a series on my channel about these scientific studies. So what I was doing is reading up on a lot of these studies to get the information so I can bring to you. Now, the method kind of took off, and it ended up being like a whole back and forth situation with people online where it's like, well, you're not using oil, but you should be. And you're like, if you stop using oils, people kind of took it personally, even though it's like my head. So I was like, you know what? I'm not trying to fight people on the internet. Not today. So I deaded it. But I really wish I did not, because truth be told, I feel like the little studies that we have is probably what we should use to really get a better understanding of the hair. So what I read that time, which was around shampoos, because I wanted to see, how the stylists were saying you can only get hydration into your hair when it's clean. When you wash your hair with a shampoo, it's going to raise your cuticles and water can go in. But as it turns out, like I guess what the paper was saying is that the cuticles, it's not raised like that, like open and closed. It's not really like that. It's more like when it comes to a pH situation, which is where clarifying shampoos comes into play. If I remember correctly, y'all don't go and clock and say Jen J said, okay? This was like 2 years ago when I read this paper from my memory. The pH will slightly raise the cuticle, not open and closed, slightly raised. So do what you will with that information. But when it comes to, say, using conditioners, now they have a lot more substance in them, like emollients, oils, etc. There are butters in some of the conditioners that we use. Now, is that actually going in? I don't know. Especially when conditioner's pH is higher than what a clarifying shampoo would be. So immediately your cuticles will be more smooth than open. I don't know. I think some of the marketing can be very deceiving, like Nikute Williams. Nikute is how you say your name. I don't know. I'm very bad with pronunciation, so my bad, girl. But I really think the marketing can be very deceiving when it comes to natural hair, especially when they talk about fixing split ends. You know, there's a lot of products in the market that's going to fix your split ends, but once you have them splits, you need to cut them. Okay, they gotta go. Anyway, so that takes me back to the whole no oil and butter situation, y'all. The issues that's coming out is curly cuts may be damaging to our hair. They're not taking care of the split ends, so it's continuously splitting. Dryness is what's happening as well. Some people are experiencing webbing to their hair, Velcro hair. That's basically where your hair is it's like Velcro, basically. They are clumping together and it's hard for you to like rake your fingers through. It's hard for you to style your hair. So if you're experiencing something like that, then I would say go to your stylist. But the second issue that I have with the natural hair community, not second, the third the third issue that I have with the natural hair community is the fact that stylists, consumers, influencers, we are all at odds with each other when we should be a community. Like I said, there isn't a lot of information, scientifically speaking, when it comes to our natural hair. If we're all figuring this out, we should all be figuring it out together. And what I'm seeing right now, in light of everything that's happening, we're not together. The stylists aren't saying much. They're not addressing the big elephant in the room, even though they were very loud a couple of years ago about y'all listening to influencers. YouTube University have been jacking up your hair. But if this method needs some tweaking and updates, then they need to be talking about it. They need to tackle this situation or these concerns that people are having. But what I'm seeing is that they're just avoiding them. They're blocking people. And that makes them feel, in my opinion, that makes them feel a little untrustworthy. How can I trust you if when I have concerns, you are nowhere to be found? Unreliable. Where are you now when you were saying a lot 2 years ago? Even now, they're still making fun of people using oils and butters, which it's a personal choice. Your hair is your hair. And I've always said this. You have to love your routine for you to do it consistently. And I think the thing with natural hair, it's about doing your routine consistently. It's putting water on your hair, shampooing it, conditioning it consistently. If you're not doing it consistently, forget it. No matter what you do to your hair, it will be dry. It will break off. Nothing is going to happen. We're all on different pages when it comes to our hair. And why can't we all just get together and figure it all out together? I'm not saying this whole method started maliciously. I'm not saying that these stylists were trying to jack people's hair up or anything like that. But I truly believe that, especially if there's some concerns that are happening, we need to tackle them together. We need to figure it out together. And I think now what you're seeing is a few influencers that are finally coming out and talking about, hey, this is what I'm experiencing with my hair. And people are saying, you know what? I've been experiencing the same thing too. Now we're back to listening to influencers. Let's take some comments because this is thick. I don't know what to say about it no more. Okay. Also, the cut it curly isn't the only method. Oh, it's moving so fast. Wait a minute. Did you delete the comment? The comment's gone. Okay. Stylists should address the issue. Consumer feedback is extremely important for growth. Amen. I couldn't have said it any better. The stylist should address the issue. Consumer feedback is extremely important for growth. That is, you know what, girl? A round of applause for Nikute, because I couldn't have said it any better. You see what I did there? Okay, anyways. I need to see this conditioner study. Spent years trying to find conditioners, deep conditioners, leave-in, etc. that worked with no success. I will make a note to, you know what? I have to find it. I'm going to find it. You know me. It's on Beyonce's internet and I'm going to find it. I have 4C hair and find that shea butter causes it to become dry. Seems to clog the pores. And you know what? That's the thing with shea butter. Shea butter is a heavy butter. And for me, when I started using shea butter, I felt like I found the holy grail for my hair, because I don't even know what I was using before. I was using a bunch of different oils. I was mixing oils and things. And I never really loved mixing products, because I'm one of those lazy naturals. Give it to me in a bottle or a jar and I am going to use it. But when I started whipping my shea butter, I really liked the consistency. And I really felt that it coated my hair, keeping it moisturized longer. And it's not just about using it dry. I was using it after I would wash, deep condition my hair. My hair will be feeling all nice and soft. And then we'll put a nice little layer of shea butter on top. Creme de la creme, okay? But it is a heavy butter. And it will make your hair feel greasy. And it's funny, now that I stopped using the oils and the butters, I realized that after a couple of days, like 3 days was my sweet spot. Then I would have to re-moisturize, put water back into my hair, because it would feel dry. It'll feel like a straw, basically. And that feeling I don't miss. And this is why I embrace this method, because my hair will stay kind of supple and soft for longer. And sometimes I can just go a whole week without having to do anything to it and just re-wash a week later. So my hair right now is a wash and go. And I did it this morning. And I anticipate that my hair is going to be nice and soft and retain water, at least for the first 4 days. And after that, it starts going downhill. You know, I should probably wash 4 days later, but who's going to do that? And who's going to clock me, boo? It's not going to be me. I'm not going to be sitting here washing my hair every 4 days. I have a life. I have a newborn baby too. Anyways, I think we really need to get down to the bottom of this if we do want to grow from this method, because I do think there's something there. I don't think we need to run back to oil, essentially. I think that the best thing to do would be to listen to people that have been using this method for a couple of years, listen to the concerns, and figure things out from there. That's the best way, I would say, to proceed when it comes to this, because if we are going to grow, we have to learn from what's happening. Stylists should be more educated too. Local stylists in my area don't even like washing and drying your hair. They want you to arrive with your hair washed already when you go for protective styles. That is a whole other conversation that I don't even think we have time to get into today. Stylists that don't wash your hair want you to wash it at home. Come with your hair washed, detangled, blow dried with no product in it. But yet their prices, that's a whole other conversation. We're not doing that. The lack of accountability is what I found sad. Many thought that they were professionals and would be more understanding of issues that people are having in their hair while following their teaching. I agree. I think there is a lack of accountability. I think they need to address this head on versus kind of, from what I've seen, some of the videos that I've seen, there's a bit of gaslighting going on where it's like, oh, it's your fault. You should have cut more hair. You don't want to cut your hair. And it's like, well, how much hair we need to be cutting? How much hair do I need to be cutting when I see you every 3 to 4 months to trim my hair? And it's funny because I'm coming from the times where I did my hair myself. I trimmed my hair myself. And I would trim my hair every like 6 or so months. Okay. I wasn't like trimming every 3 to 4 months. I'm not going to lie to you. And I was trimming my hair in twists. So I kind of twist my hair up and then chop, chop, chop. Yes, I had split ends still in my hair, but I don't know if my hair was damaged all the way up the strands, y'all. I just feel like there may be something deeper that's happening. There may be something else. Well, this was a nice little conversation. if you are watching the replay. I will love to continue the conversation with you in the comments down below. But right now we're going to move on to the next topic, the next parenting topic, which is Jen J was 0.5 seconds away from having a C-section, y'all. Can we talk about it? Let's talk about it. So how do I even start this conversation? I'm trying to think about it. Oh, did my screen go black? Can you guys see me? You can't see me. Ooh, something's happening. Okay, my screen is back. Oh, what happened? Girl, I don't even know. I feel like these lives always give me issues. Let's start this again because everybody's going to chop this live. And I want to have a little intro for this video, okay? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be all about parenting. So, okay, I'm back. Okay, see? I don't even know what's going on with these lives. But if you're watching the replay, we're going to talk about parenting. And the topic today is actually not about Jen J having a C-section. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But we're going to talk about just parenting styles, okay? And this topic came about when I was taking care of my daughter. And we went and met a family member, another parent that had a baby. And she was like, oh, well, you're doing the black and white cards. And I was like, yeah, you know, I got them from Amazon. And she was like, there's a show on Netflix that's called Hey Bear. And with Hey Bear, it's basically a sensory black and white with some colors for babies. So, of course, I went home and I was like, I'm going to check this out. So I checked out Hey Bear, and me and my daughter were watching Hey Bear almost every day. But I have to say, I noticed one thing when I was watching Hey Bear. She was almost in a trance, y'all. Like, she was just like lost watching it. And she wasn't really moving. I would put her on tummy time, which she hates. She hates tummy time. She cries every single time. So I have to do like little bursts at a time, a little 5 minutes here, a little 3 minutes there. And she would just lay there and just be lost in Hey Bear. I would put her on tummy time. And in tummy time, she wouldn't even realize that she's in tummy time. Like, she'll be there for like 12 minutes, lost in Hey Bear. And I was like, I don't know. This feels kind of off a little bit. So what I ended up doing is going on Instagram, which is kind of like going on social media when it comes to anything parenting is interesting because everybody does their own thing. And it's very interesting, the conversation around parenting styles. And, you know, I kind of knew what I was subjecting myself to when I went on Instagram and asked people, like, hey, do you allow your babies, or have you allowed your babies to watch TV? And girl, I was flooded with so many different opinions. And I was like, you know what? I don't even know why I did that. Now I'm even more confused. But the consensus was no screen time until 18 months. And I was like, oh my God, that's difficult. We live in a world of screens. How do you prevent your babies from watching a screen for 18 months? But I looked a little bit more into it, and I was like, you know what? I feel like maybe I shouldn't push this baby to grow up faster than they already are. And that was like maybe a month ago, right? So my daughter was about 2 months old at that point. So I cut off all screen time, and I was like, nope, we're not doing it. And we are just going to play with our little cards, do our little tummy time with the little toys that you shake and whatever. We're just going to take it old school. And I started doing this. And in doing that, I came across Montessori teachings, which is basically meeting your child where they are developmentally speaking. So instead of trying to force your kid to do something like they may not be ready for, which, for example, watching TV, you know, their brain is still developing, their eyesight is still developing. And I think what was happening with my daughter is the fact that there's so many flashing colors and movement and this and that. She was just like lost in it. And I could tell that she wasn't really registering what was happening. She was just like lost in the colors. And with Montessori teachings, it's about not forcing them to do things that they may not be ready for, but allowing them to do the things that they are ready or able to do. So with that said, I'm going to share my screen with y'all and show you this link that Ebony sent me. And it's about milestones for babies. Now, if you can see my screen, let me know. There it is. Can you see it? Can you see my screen? Oh, that was a seamless transition there, Jen. So this link is, or this website, kind of gives you a complete guide to developmental milestones for your children. And so we're going to look at 3 months because this is where my daughter's at. She's 3 months old now. Can you believe that my baby's 3 months, y'all? It's crazy. I gave birth 3 months ago. That's insane. And when you look at these things that she should be doing, like the movement milestones, it's like very basic stuff, like raising her head and chest, which is basically tummy time. She does it, but she hates it. She'll cry. Support your upper body with arms. Whoops. Stretch your legs out, when she's on her back. Opening and shutting her hands. Pushing down on her legs when she's placed on her feet. Like, which she does. She does all of these things, bringing her hands to her mouth. But those are just basic stuff. And now when you look at the visual stuff, she'll watch our face. She'll follow moving objects. She'll smile at the sound of our voice. She's doing all this like cute little stuff. Starts using her hands and eyes in coordination. And, she's a little wobbly, but it's super cute to watch. Socially, she'll smile at us. She'll enjoy playing with other people and cry when the playing stops. I find that she'll cry a little bit if she is with people that she doesn't know. But in any case, like, it's very interesting the things that they're able to do at that age. And I bring this up to you because when you think about some of the things that we may be doing with our kids who is so young, like say 3 months, I constantly have to remind myself, she's 3 months. Like, she's not 3 years old. She's not 3 decades, even though it kind of feels like it. But she's still super young. And instead of trying to force her to do some things that she may not be ready to do, I have decided to kind of really take it back and let her lead the way in some of these things. Not that I'm letting her lead entirely, because I kind of feel like at the end of the day, I am going to make the decisions for her, some of the decisions. But when it comes to her movement and her doing things, instead of forcing her, instead of putting her in front of the TV when she's like lost in a trance, when I'm noticing that, how about we just kind of play in a more interactive way, So that kind of leads me to my parenting style. And I've been thinking about this for a really long time, you guys, when it comes to, Jen, what is your parenting style? How do you want to parent? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I had a huge dilemma when I was pregnant when it came to parenting. And that's because I've just been kind of stressing myself out a little bit. Oh, I think I've lost you guys. Where's your comments? Oh, there it is. Okay, I found you. I was stressing myself out when it comes to when I was pregnant in terms of like the type of parent that I want to be. Because the example that I had obviously was my own parents, my mom. And that's the type of parent I know I don't want to be. And that's how I was raised, where it was more, she was a lot more strict. It's funny because when I look at my mom now, when I look at her now as a parent, she is so soft. I mean, not parent, as a grandparent, she is so soft, y'all. So soft. Like, excuse me, ma'am, how are you this gentle and loving? Because when she was raising us, it was a whole different parenting style, y'all. So what I've learned from my mom, and basically it made me realize that I don't want to be that type of parent, I don't want to focus on kind of shaming and being so strict with my child. I definitely want to be more understanding, more loving, more present, emotionally available, which is very different than what I had when I was younger. And I've talked to my husband about it, and he's on the same page in terms of being understanding. I want to be my child's friend. And it sounds so bad to say because growing up, my mom would always tell us that. She would always tell me, I'm not your friend. And I remember how that would make me feel so bad. It would make me feel so sad. Like, she doesn't want to be my friend. And of course, growing up now, I get it. Like, she kind of felt like it was probably one or the other, because I'm your parent. I'm going to be your parent. And it's like, I kind of argue, because I feel like when you are your kid's child, it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can be the parent when you need to be the parent, and you can be the friend when you need to be a friend. You know what I mean? Instead of just one or the other type thing. But if you want your kid to be able to talk to you, to tell you when something's wrong, to come to you when they have a problem, then you have to be approachable. You have to be their friend. Anyway, so because I feel like that's probably coming from my trauma with my mom always telling us that she wasn't our friend, that I want to be my kid's friend, obviously. But that got me to look into gentle parenting. Now, gentle parenting is definitely all the crave on the internet, where people have this understanding that gentle parenting means, you're going to be gentle with your kids. You're going to talk to them with that soft voice, and they're going to run all over you. But what I'm realizing gentle parenting is to raise your kid to be confident, independent, and happy through empathy, respect, and boundaries. So it's a parenting style that focuses largely on age-appropriate development, which is exactly what I was talking about earlier. And just being understanding that your kid is a child and they've only been here for a couple of years, or however many years that they are, and they're still learning about a lot of their own development, and also learning about their own emotions, which is something that is so hard to master. I feel like I've only started mastering my emotions in my 20s, late 20s, I would say. My emotions were controlling me up until that point, y'all. And as an adult, I had to make the conscious decision to go to therapy. And that's when I started learning, first of all, about emotions, but also learning to understand them, and also learning when I'm experiencing these emotions, because they were just happening and I didn't know what was happening. All I knew is that I was emotional, and I was trying to like push it down because emotions was weakness. That's what I was raised to learn to feel. So I was always trying to push it down, and I just felt like it was choking me. I wasn't well, and I just knew something was wrong. I just didn't know what it was until I was like, I don't know, maybe 26, 27, and started therapy. And I was like, you know what? It's because I don't know how to control my emotions. They just run through me. Something would happen and I'll be upset for days, y'all. It's actually so embarrassing to say. For example, if something happened between B and I, let's be honest, all relationships have their issues, especially when you don't know how to control your emotions. And he would just kind of shut down because he's like, I'm not going to deal with you when you're like this. And that would rile me up, because it's like, well, you clearly don't love me if you don't want to deal with me. And I would just kind of go off the handle from that point on. I would be mad for days. And then it's like all these emotions. I won't talk, and then I'll talk. And then it's like up and down. And I just wouldn't know what's happening to me until I realized, I've learned, hey, you're just being emotional right now. And I had to figure out, well, okay, if I'm emotional, what am I experiencing? Why am I experiencing this? What caused me to experience this emotion, and what can I do about it? Which is why nowadays I'm very big on taking time off and like disconnecting. Today I went for a chiro appointment because doing something for Jen makes me happy, relaxes me. And if something's happening, I can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to put a pin in this because this is affecting me on an emotional level. So all that to say, I think that is very important for you to understand yourself, to learn about yourself. And I'm holding my phone because I had the definition of gentle parenting here. And I just wanted to, that's why I ended up reading it to you. But I really don't want to raise my kid the traditional parenting way, which focuses more on punishment and reward and shame. I'm sure we all have a story where our parents shamed us. They said something happened and they went and called every single person in the family to say, this is what Jen did. That's not nice. Why would you embarrass your child like that because of something that happened that you didn't agree with? And when you think about it, I feel like our parents also didn't know how to control their emotions, which is why they acted a lot of the times the way that they acted towards us. And it was just an emotional relationship. Like even now with my mom, I can see when she's going through an emotional moment. And I try to tell her and coach her a little bit. It's really hard in the moment. So afterwards, when she comes down, I'll kind of sit with her and be like, okay, I noticed that you're upset about this. Do you want to talk about it? 99.99%. She'll be like, nope, absolutely not. It's hard for her to speak from from a level of, I guess it's hard for her to be vulnerable and say, I was having a moment, or I need a moment, or I'm feeling emotional about this actual topic. No, you push it down. Emotions, weakness. It's crazy. Let me take a few comments because I see the comments going in right now. I really like balancing both being the parent but also being approachable. That's what I try to do with my child. This is Asia talking. She said, empathy and putting myself in my child's place has helped me very much. Absolutely. I think that is very important to, understand that your kid is a kid. And a lot of the times, especially from, I'm speaking from my own experience being Haitian, like our parents would made us feel like we're doing something on purpose. Like we woke up and was like, how can I upset mom and dad today? Like, what can I do maliciously to get on their nerves? It's really what they made us feel like. And it's like, no, something just happened and maybe I forgot what you had said and I don't know. We're here now. Like I blinked and the vase broke, or I blinked and I dropped your cup. I'm so sorry. But it was always like, why did you do this? You purposely did it, so you need to get this beating. And it's like, no, we could have just talked about it and it could have been like a teachable moment versus really like, treating us like that. Anyways, I think it's very important for us to put ourselves in our kids' shoes. I know this conversation started about watching TV, but here we are now. And and yeah, it's kind of crazy. I had a conversation with my friend who has 2 kids. She read a book called Raising Adults. Some aspects of the book were very impactful and changed her perspective about some things. So this is Janine that says that. Ebony's on y'all about not hitting the like button. So if you are watching and you're enjoying this conversation, hit the like button. There is no reason to be stingy. Those little things really help us as creators, really pushes our content to the algorithm. And especially as Black creators, it's very difficult, I find, to break through the noise. So I appreciate your support. Don't forget to leave a super chat. Don't forget to hit the like button. All of these little things really help us out. It's very true. Our society loves to push children past childhood to become adults immediately, which really affects my parenting style as well. That's a whole other conversation there as well. I think, especially when it comes to going to school, I feel like some topics that are being discussed in school today, nowadays, is a little bit too advanced for where the kids are at. And I say this because my brother has 3 kids, and I talk to my sister-in-law quite often, and I see the hardship that's going on with her when it comes to the kids. Like, they talk about sexual topics, for example, with 6, 7, 8 years old. And I'm just like, shouldn't the parents have the chance to introduce these topics to their kids? I feel like it's quite young. I don't know. It makes me not want to put my kids in school. Homeschool all the way. If I can make this money, I will homeschool my daughter. Okay. Now, I don't know how much, I feel like I am running out of time a little bit. I don't know if we're going to have time to discuss our last topic, which is our goals for 2020, for the rest of the year. But I do want to talk about one last thing quickly, which is the fact that I was 0.5 seconds from having a C-section. Now, in terms of how we're going to cut this video, I don't know. It may not be, I don't know, Ebony, I'm going to let you work your magic, girl. But I realized the other day that I was 0.5 seconds from having a C-section. So I was talking to a friend of mine who just had a baby. Her son is about 2 weeks younger than my daughter. And picture this, y'all. She went into labor. She had a longer labor than I did, but she went into labor and she was laboring and progressing slowly but surely. She got to 7 centimeters dilated, and there was a little lip left on her cervix that was in the way. So your cervix is supposed to dilate wide enough to 10 centimeters and the baby's gonna shoot right out. But she was 7 centimeters and had a little lip that was in the way. She wasn't progressing, so labor was stalling for a little bit. Was stalling for a while, actually. And so they were like, you need to go to the hospital. So what she was trying to do is have a home birth. So she was at home trying to have a baby. They said she needed to go to the hospital because labor was stalling. Okay, cool. She goes to the hospital and she's still laboring, going through all the different motions, etc. And they were like, you know what? Those are your options. You need an emergency C-section, or we could try to turn the baby inside of you as you're contracting to see if that works. But most likely you need an emergency C-section. Because she was in labor for so long, she was exhausted, and those options were given to her. She was like, you know what, I don't know about turning this baby, but let's try it for a sec. So at her next contraction, she tried to push, and it was just like too painful. It wasn't happening. So she was like, you know what, just get this baby out of me. She had a C-section. That is her story. Now with my labor, I don't know if you watch my birth story, but it was the same exact story. I was laboring. I wanted to have a home birth as well, but because the baby was starting small, the plan was to go to the hospital. Okay, so I went to the hospital. I was laboring nicely. I got to 7 centimeters, and I had a lip of my cervix as well that was in the way. Now, my midwife said, Jen, you're going to push, and as you push, I am going to, I guess, massage or move the little lip out of the way. So I had a contraction. She put her finger in there. She moved the cervix out of the way. Baby came down slightly. And that was the end of it. I just kept going and had my vaginal delivery naturally. Same exact situation, y'all, but ended in 2 different outcomes. She had an emergency C-section because we were like, we don't know what to do about this. And my midwife was like, oh, just simple fix. Let me fix you up with this little cervix lip. Which led me to this video, and I'm going to let you watch it. I hope you can see it. Oh, you can. Oh, seamless transition here, Jen. Let me know if you can hear it. If you can't hear it, let me know. Okay, so I was told that there is no sound. Wait a minute. Let me fix it out. I'm going to fix the sound a little quickly, y'all. No sound. Okay, wait a minute. Let me know if you can hear it now. I'm going to have to fix it. Very low sound. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me fix this. Okay. 1 moment, please. But I want you to hear this because it's the same thing that happened to my friend. They told her she had to go to the hospital, be on Pitocin. They call it oxytocin here, actually. How about now? Can you guys hear it? I feel like you should. Can we hear it now?
Hospitals are businesses. They want those beds filled and emptied. They don't want women hanging around in the labor room.
Technology is technology. It's not stopping. So if you're going to have good stuff, you might as well use it to get the best outcome.
Maternity care in the United States is in crisis.
People don't have the information.
Medical decisions are being made for monetary and legal reasons, not because they're good for the mother and the baby.
This is Pitocin, which is the medication given through the IV that causes contractions.
Just check that she's on PIT. Just make sure that she's on PIT.
I asked to keep upping the PIT.
And if you're uncomfortable, we can always give you more.
Is this an improvement, or are we making things worse?
How often do you get to see a fully natural birth?
Rarely.
Almost never.
Everywhere else in the world, you see midwives attending 70 or 80% of all the births, and the United States stands alone.
When you want to talk big lobby, big dollars, they can kind of call a lot of shots.
Accusations tonight that some hospitals are not being upfront with patients who are expecting
expecting a baby.
Cesarean is extremely doctor friendly. It's 20 minutes, and I'll be home for dinner.
Basically, what the medical profession has done is convince the vast majority of women that they don't know how to birth. If I could do that, I could do anything. To me, that's the power of birthing, and that is what we are taking away from women.
It wasn't an illness. It wasn't something that needed to be numbed. It needed to be experienced.
It was the most adventurous day I've ever had in my life.
I don't even have a diaper. I don't even have a bassinet.
I have to get there. I cannot have another contraction in this taxi cab.
Switch on a light switch, and you go to the moon.
This is what I was after. This is what I wanted for my child.
Nothing compares to the privilege of giving life and the responsibility of that. Nothing.
Oh my god! 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 Hi! Hi! Oh my god! Hi! We have everything that you can fucking shoot today.
All right, so this is a whole movie that apparently you can rent at like a local library or something. But I find it very interesting that so many women are being given or offered Pitocin or oxytocin, as we call it here in Canada. And so many of the outcomes is C-sections. And, you know, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist or nothing, but it's so interesting, especially when the doctor was like, you know, C-sections are very convenient for the doctors. You quickly get it out of the way and you go home for dinner. And I'm noticing a trend. Every single one of my friends that have had a child recently in the past year all ended in a C-section. What are the odds? What are the odds, you guys? And I don't know, it really feels odd to me that when it comes to the system, it's almost like a business. It really is. I feel like a hospital do push C-sections on women. And I don't like it. I just feel like it's such an empowering position to give birth the way that you want to. If you do want a C-section, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that if that's your birth plan, you were like, you know what, I don't even want to go through this whole birth thing, give me a C-section, that's fine. But if your plan was to have a vaginal delivery and nothing is wrong, then I feel like you should go through the birthing process the way that you want to, especially if nothing is wrong. Like, these emergency situations are helpful. They do save lives. They do save babies. And I'm not going to take it away saying, oh, we shouldn't have C-sections, we shouldn't have Pitocin or anything like that. But I just feel like they're being pushed when maybe they are alternatives. Maybe they're not needed. Especially as a Black woman, I'm very adamant about empowering myself to go through the birthing process in the healthiest way, because there's so many issues and so many things that happened that ends up being a huge problem, especially when it comes to, for example, Pitocin. I truly believe that if you are forcing your body into labor, pushing it into doing something that it may not be ready to do, there may be some issues. And I kind of see the issues, you know? I just hear about them. The same friend that I mentioned earlier had a conversation with her MD prior to her oldest regarding the high percentage of C-section that MD performs. She expressed that she wanted a natural birth. Absolutely. And I think any doctors that you're seeing, you need to have these type of conversations with them, asking them their questions. What are their rates of C-sections? You know, how do they proceed in an emergency situation? What is an emergency? What can you expect? Those are conversations I feel like we need to have with our doctors versus just kind of showing up at the hospital. Okay? That's really what I wanted to say about this topic. I know we started with babies, developments, parenting, parenting styles. But before you get to any of that, you have to go through the birthing process. And I think it's very important for you to empower yourself when it comes to birth and not seeing as this scary thing. Like, I think some women are choosing to have a C-sections because they don't want to ruin their body, or they don't want to go through all of these complications. But C-section is a huge surgery. Like, they're cutting you open and then they send you home 48 hours later. What? You got this. No, actually, I don't got this. What are we talking about right now? Okay. We're gonna let that topic rest. Okay, let's continue the conversation down in the comment below. And if you have any questions, of course, let me know. Now, I think that we're already over time. It's hard for me to go into another topic. The topic that I wanted to talk about is the fact that we only have 6 months left in 2023. And what are you going to do with these 6 months? Okay, so I'm just gonna like quickly go through it. 2 minutes max. It's not even gonna be a video. It's just gonna be like part of this live. That's it. So with the 6 months that we have, or 5 months now, I have been doing a lot with my time. Actually, I feel like I've been keeping up with the conversations that I've had with myself and the promises that I made with myself, which is creating more content, being more consistent, especially here on YouTube. Y'all, a video is going up every other day, and if you're not keeping up, you're being left behind. Just like time is not keeping up with no one. Jen J's not keeping up with no one. I am just out here pumping out the content, and I hope that you guys are enjoying it. I do want your feedback though, in terms of how you've been feeling about my content. So if you have any type of constructive criticism, let me know, because I would love to hear your feedback. I am not getting the results that I expected, but it's also fairly new, so I'm trying to give it time. But that's basically what's been happening with me over the past couple of months, and I hope to continue these habits. I hope to continue being consistent at the gym. Okay, I want to get consistent with my nutrition, but so far it's not happening, so I need to tighten up. What I need to do is do groceries with intention, because what I'm doing right now is kind of like just, doing whatever. I'm doing whatever. I kind of eat whenever, I drink my water whenever, but I need to be more intentional with that and just continue to be consistent with my work. So let me know how you're doing. That is all that we're going to say about this topic, because we're going to wrap things up. I'm just going to take a few comments before we go. See what we got here. I've really been enjoying your consistency. I've been enjoying your content. I really appreciate your transparency and vulnerability. Well, thank you, Asia. I really appreciate that. A lot of people will book C-sections because of their schedules. Isn't that crazy though? I think that's kind of crazy when you're just going to like book a C-section just because I'm busy. I'm busy. Like I just want to have a baby on Tuesday versus Thursday because Thursday's not going to work for me. That's interesting to me. I don't know. I kind of feel like I don't know what's going on. I shouldn't say that. I got to be politically correct for the internet. I don't know what's going on in people's lives. But once you have this baby, where is your schedule? Where's your precious schedule going to be at? Because I just kind of feel like we got to get our priorities straight. If you are pregnant and you are 37 weeks onward, you need to clear your schedule. Let's be honest, okay? Unless you're pushing 42 weeks, 41 weeks and this baby's still not here, okay, well, let's do something about it. But before that, you need to just clear your schedule. I remember the midwife told us 8 weeks is what we need to be prepared. So I think it was 4 weeks before the due date and 4 weeks after the due date. You got to be ready, because anything can happen at any time. And I agree with that. Like, if you're going to have a baby, you can be scheduling C-sections. I don't know. I guess you can. You can do whatever you want. But I'm just saying. I just feel like the schedule is not going to be there after the baby's born. I've had a few friends that were scared of the pain of childbirth and wanted a C-section. And I'm not going to lie. The pain of childbirth is a lot. This is where epidurals come in, though, I guess, to kind of help you with the pain. And I even feel like there is what's the word I'm looking for? There are levels to this. If you're going through and you're like, oh my God, I can't take the pain, let's go with an epidural. Okay, things are not progressing. Okay, maybe we can do Pitocin, maybe. And let's allow your body to do what it does. Let's give it time versus rushing and be like, oh, no, you know what? You're not going to be able to take the pain. Let's go to a C-section. Like, that's like next level. Let's take it back. Let's go step by step. I just don't like how that's the go-to. I'm currently pregnant with my second and had an emergency C-section with the first, which was traumatic. And I want a natural birth with this one. Asia, I am praying for you. I know that you can do it. That's another thing that I hear a lot too. Like, you can't have a vaginal birth after a C-section, and that is false. So I am sending you all the women empowerment vibes. You got this, and I know you're going to have a healthy vaginal delivery. Just be mentally prepared, you know, because this vaginal deliveries, it's going to test your strength. But once you make it out that other side, then you're like, you know what, there's nothing in this world that I can't do. That's how I feel. This is why I'm consistent online too. I'm like, there's nothing I can't do. See what we got. I think it's important to treat our children with respect. Okay, well, I think I read that already. The use of these devices are wreaking havoc on children developmentally. I kind of agree. I feel like I think it's a delicate dance when it comes to exposing your children to technology. It's going to happen, of course, but I think as parents we can kind of control when, how, and how long. Especially as they're developing, kind of like give them a chance and sprinkle it in versus like just dropping an iPad in front of your kid when they're like a year old. Like, it's a lot, I think. Tummy time is very important no matter what you read. And 2 months, they can distinguish colors and shapes that well watching TVs and screens. I agree with that. All right, well, you guys, we have gotten to the end of our chat. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We're going to keep these conversations going. So in a couple of weeks, I will be back. So clear your schedule. 4 o'clock in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be back and we're going to check in with each other. We're going to check in and see what we've done over the past couple of weeks, where we're heading. You know, we're going to have a new set of juicy conversations. Look out for my video that's going to go up around hair care. It's going to be update to the no oil and butter thing because we need to continue that conversation. I think now more than ever, we need to be unified in the hair care space, not blocking people, not ignoring concerns. I don't think that's going to take us anywhere. But I think that together we can go further versus alone, especially when we are in a space with limited information regarding the actual scientific structure of our hair. Anyways, well, thank you so much for watching, y'all. I really enjoyed myself. Now I'm gonna go take care of my baby, be with my husband, and I will see you in my next live. If you want to continue the conversation, of course, you can drop comments down below and I will see it and respond. But I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Bye, y'all.